Hey, Mr. Jackson.
Hey, it's the kids of the hood in the house.
I hope it's still okay for us to hang out for another story, Mr. Jackson.
Why, of course, Reggie. It's a privilege to share the wonderful stories of the Bible. In fact, you can say right now that we are becoming Bible buddies.
Mr. Jackson, I was hoping you might have a story on friendship. It's so important to have true friends, I reckon.
I sure do have the best of best friends stories. There was a boy called David. David was a shepherd. He had a friend called Jonathan, and Jonathan was a prince. David had a harp and a slingshot. Jonathan had a bow and arrows, plus his own armor. Jonathan, he grew up in a palace and was trained up in the art of war. David grew up in the little town of Bethlehem, and he was trained to tend sheep. Jonathan was of the tribe of Benjamin, David the tribe of Judah. Jonathan was the oldest son and in line to inherit the throne, and David was the youngest of 8 boys and anointed the next king in place of Jonathan. Now, despite their many differences, even a 20-year age gap, they were arguably the best friends the world has ever known.
Wait, what? Jonathan was 20 years older than David?
Oh, yes'm, that is a fact. Jonathan and David lived in Israel about 1000 BC, and it was a difficult time because Israel was subject to the Philistines and the other foreign powers. Saul was crowned the first king over Israel, and under his rule, Israel became a local power in the region. Jonathan was the first prince, the eldest son of Saul. He was in line to become the second king, but because of Saul's unfaithfulness to God's instructions, this never happened, and instead, Jonathan is remembered as a loyal friend to David and a devoted leader of his country. Jonathan saw what God saw in David. The Lord does not look at the things that people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. David was a man after God's own heart. David often gets recognition for his heart for God, but Jonathan clearly had a depth of spiritual insight and discernment worth mentioning and remembering.
So Prince Jonathan was never jealous about David?
No, not even once. Truly, it was a special friendship, one full of loyalty and faithfulness. Jonathan and David came from very different backgrounds, but they had few key things in common. They were both warriors. They were men of faith. They served the living God, and they were provided with God-given courage and strength, and they needed each other. They became fast friends and sealed their friendship with an oath. Now, boys, I do have some work to finish off, but if you like, come back tomorrow, and I will tell you what comes next in the story of these 2 faithful friends, David and Jonathan.
Sure, Mr. Jackson. I would be up for that.
Me too, Mr. Jackson. See you tomorrow.
Great story. A true faithful friendship. What about you, kids? Are you also a faithful and reliable friend? Proverbs 17:17 says, "A friend is always loyal, and a brother is born to help in time of need." I'm Arnie from Arnie's Shack, and you have been listening to Bible Buddies. Our time is up for today, but I will look forward to catching up with all of you again next time. So take care, stay safe, and God bless.
Learn about our wonderful God each day.